My name is Mary Ann Broxton, and I am the main representative to the UN for the International Movement 1854 World. In a moment, I'll introduce you to our amazing co-MCs and tell you how to access today's program. But first, I'd like to tell you that if you look on the screen here, you can see a QR code, and if you look at the back of your paper tickets, you can either access it from the screen or the sticker that's on the back of your ticket. Two of our speakers today will be speaking in French, and the text of their statements in English can be found on the program, and we will also be sharing it on the screen. You can join the global IDEP 2025 and poverty conversation on Twitter, RX, and other social media platforms by using the hashtags that you see here on the screen. End poverty, all families count. And now, it is my pleasure to introduce to you our co-MCs. So Ms. Kathleen St. Amman is currently an ATD Fourth World New York intern and apprentice for the UN rep. She is an IDEP alumni, having spoken here when she was 16 years old, talking about housing, poverty-induced trauma, and the need for community. She is currently pursuing a bachelor's degree at Brooklyn College and is majoring in political science and history with the goal of being a professor someday. Mrs. Yes, please. Miss Cecilia Scheermeister is a representative of the Baha'i International Community's United Nations office here in New York City. Her areas of study include youth, social development, and climate change. She serves as chair of the World Social Summit Committee for the NGO Committee on Social Development. Cecilia. And I now turn the program over to you. Thank you.
Thank you for the introduction, Marianne. Dear dignitaries, friends, guests who have traveled from far away and nearby, guests who are joining us online, and to the young people in the audience today, my co-MC Cecilia and I welcome you. On October 17, 1987, over 100,000 people gathered at Trocadero Plaza in Paris, where the Human Rights Declaration was signed to honor the victims of extreme poverty, violence, and hunger. In 1992, the UN General Assembly declared the 17th of October as the International Day for the Eradication of Poverty. This day honors the millions of people around the world suffering from poverty and their hopes for the future. It represents a space of meaningful participation and recognizes the dignity of every person.
Effective support for families recognizes families in all their forms: the family you're born into, family you create, and family you choose, as the foundation society is built upon. Today, we join together to reflect on what is needed to ensure the type of society we want to live in by ensuring all families count. Dear friends, I'm pleased to share with you a quote from the remarks of His Excellency, Secretary General, Mr. Antonio Guterres. We thank the Secretary General for his words of wisdom that poverty is not a personal failure, it is a systemic failure. On this International Day for the Eradication of Poverty, we would also say every day, let's reject stigma and discrimination. Let's stand with people living in poverty and act with solidarity to end poverty for good. The full message can be found in the program using the QR code on the back of your ticket.
South, what ensuring respect and effective support for families means to them. Here are their responses.
C'est que nous devons soutenir les familles dans l'éducation de leurs enfants, parce que la plupart des enfants de ces familles n'ont pas le privilège d'aller à l'école.
M'adresser à vous aujourd'hui et de vous partager la réalité des familles séparées de leurs enfants par l'État. Quand ma fille était bébé, une assistance sociale a empêché mon partenaire de nous voir. Cela a détruit ma vie de famille. En l'empêchant de nous voir, je perdais sa famille, la seule grand-mère de ma fille. La garde légale, qu'elle soit retirée ou soumise, se sentent alors ignorées, privées de justice et impuissantes. Les familles sont obligées de naviguer dans les bureaux sous la contrainte. On nous dit que les décisions sont prises par un ordinateur.
Supporting families is key to breaking the cycle of poverty. Poverty persists because the cost of living is rising too fast and support systems don't match people's real needs. Even hardworking parents face challenges with housing, childcare, and food due to long wait lists and limited resources. Many families in my community struggle with housing insecurity and access to affordable, nutritious food. Rent is extremely high and families find it hard to afford a stable home. Essentials like baby products and childcare are out of reach for many. One family in my neighborhood was living in a small shared apartment because they couldn't afford anything else. The crowded conditions affected their children's sleep and ability to focus on school. My family has first-hand experience with a situation like this. We are living in a sublet apartment with a lot of noise and unstable environment, not ideal for a baby. We needed safe and peaceful housing, but everything was so expensive. Fortunately, I was able to find the support my family needed, the support all families should be entitled to. I reached out to my community college's Students Assistance Program, Project Access. The case manager helped me tremendously by giving me resources for an apartment, food, diapers, and childcare information. Currently, I am struggling with childcare brochure. The childcare program has a long wait list. We received respect and effective support that we needed, but many families face long delays or rejections on applying for housing or childcare support. Some are treated disrespectfully at social service offices or given little guidance on how to get help. Delays and confusing systems stop people from getting they qualify for. For example, some families are left without proper housing for months due to paperwork or system backlog. 1, 2, or 3 housing property list. My application number is 1001 and 57 for one property. It makes feel invisible, helpless, and exhausted. Many feel judged or discouraged from even asking for help again. People in poverty are often judged or looked down on, especially immigrants or single mothers. They may be blamed for their situation instead of being supported. I have seen people being talked down at service offices or assumed to be uneducated because they needed help. There is also stigma around using subsidies to purchase food or use of diaper banks, where parents receive free diapers for their children. Families may avoid seeking help or appointments because they are afraid of being judged or mistreated.
Most of the activities are geared towards the client's social and emotional development and the program's goals. My job is to have the best interests of the families at heart, but I'm making my duty to look out for the best interests of the families. I understand firsthand what the families I work with are going through. My family and I have definitely endured multiple struggles. In fact, I often tell my clients at work, the only difference between us is they are unhoused and I'm not. I go through the same things as them and face the same struggles and insecurities as them. I was a family who had once benefited from government assistance in the form of financial benefit subsidies and health care coverage subsidies. I did not allow those struggles to stop me from my goals that I have set for myself and my family. With hard work and dedication, I was able to overcome my struggles. Two of the many struggles that the families in my community experience are food insecurity and housing stability. Although there are many supermarkets and nearby bodegas, the price of food is extremely high. Food subsidy benefits aren't enough to feed a family for a week, let alone a month like it's intended to. To make matters worse, the fruits and vegetables aren't even fresh. In order to get affordable groceries, you must travel out of the neighborhood. Yes, there are food pantries, but they aren't as accessible as they should be. It isn't advertised around the neighborhood, and unfortunately, many families do not know. Families don't have enough money to pay $3,000 a month for rent, buy food, have life outside of work, provide entertainment for their children, something everyone is entitled to, buy clothes, and everything else. A lot of families don't qualify for vouchers to help with the cost of housing. So that becomes a hassle because you make too much money to not qualify for vouchers, but you don't make enough.
So, you know, these strong voices, really strong champion, and you know, when you are hearing all these lived experiences. I'm really happy to be here today because past Monday, my report to the GA was about child poverty. And yes, family count, but also children count, and both need to be counted. And I just want to react to something. As previous speakers, many highlighted, poverty is not only about lack of financial resources. And I want also to focus on family and child poverty. And it's a violation of rights, all the rights. And it's a form of violence against children. And it strips, as you highlight, all of you, children of their basic needs, their basic rights, dignity and hope. Let me share with you some key message. You know, what is going on worldwide, that we are seeing that poverty is increasing at alarming rates, despite many, many actions undertaken. Today, almost 1 billion children live in multidimensional poverty. Even in the world's richest country, more than 1 in 5 children live in poverty. Yet worldwide, only 23.9% of children are covered by social protection. This means 1.8 billion children are not covered. And if we add to that the current overlapping and ongoing crises that are pushing more vulnerable children and family further into poverty, children is going to continue to increase, and we are not going to achieve SDG 1 by, 2030. Another point that
This year's theme, ensuring respect and effective support for families, ending social and institutional maltreatment, reminds us that poverty, as we heard from Najat, is not merely a lack of income. It is about the denial of human rights. An estimated 808 million people still live in extreme poverty in 2025, with an income of less than $3 US a day. The Global Multidimensional Poverty Index 2024, which captures overlapping deprivation, reveals that last year 1.1 billion people lived in acute multidimensional poverty. This is intolerable. Across the world, families and people living in poverty are too often met with scrutiny and misplaced or ill-informed judgment instead of care and support. Far too many children are separated from their parents not due to violence or abuse, but simply because of poverty. And let us not forget those who have lost their families or never had one due to conflict, disaster, or exclusion, many of whom are pushed into poverty. These are not personal failures. They are collective systemic failures, the result of policies and structures that continue to exclude, stigmatize, and punish those who are already the furthest behind. Yet, in the face of these challenges, people living in poverty are resilient. Like those activists we heard today, they are rights holders and agents of change. Parents, workers, caregivers, and community leaders whose courage sustains life under the harshest conditions.
Well, welcome to you all in the UN and welcome to you all in the ECOSOC Council room. Lisa et moi, nous avons préparé un discours, et puis en vous écoutant, je suis comme la docteure Najat, j'ai du mal à lire un discours après vous avoir entendu raconter vos histoires, vos vies, et nous dire quelle est la réalité de la pauvreté, quelle est la réalité des combats que vous menez. And therefore, instead of reading this speech that you will find in English, I want to tell you a few very concrete things about what is being done here in this house in terms of fight against poverty. Tout d'abord, un grand merci à ATD Quart-Monde. Il n'y aurait pas de politique de lutte contre la pauvreté en France avec l'ampleur qu'elle a s'il n'y avait pas eu ATD Quart-Monde. C'est un fait. ATD Quart-Monde a inspiré au gouvernement français, au Parlement français, des politiques très ambitieuses de lutte contre la pauvreté. Et s'il y a en France une obsession de la lutte contre la pauvreté, c'est évidemment parce qu'il y a liberté, égalité, fraternité dans notre devise, mais c'est aussi parce que la société civile, les associations, la générosité des personnes se sont mobilisées pour qu'on se dise « la pauvreté n'est pas acceptable dans un pays civilisé ». La pauvreté n'enlève pas leur dignité aux personnes, car rien ne peut enlever sa dignité intrinsèque à une personne. Mais la pauvreté empêche les personnes de vivre la plénitude de leur vie, c'est-à-dire de réaliser ce pourquoi elles ont été créées, ce pourquoi elles sont venues au monde. Et donc toute politique publique doit mettre au cœur de ses priorités cette exigence d'éradication de la pauvreté pour donner à chacune et à chacun la possibilité de jouir de la plénitude de ses droits. Ses droits de mère, ses droits d'enfant, ses droits de père, ses droits d'être humain, voulant vivre une vie pleine et entière. And here in this room, what do? We do 2 or 3 things which are very insufficient, but which are absolutely necessary. First of all, we assess intimately or collectively our national policies. And we have a sort of permanent non-said peer review, by which, whether we are developed countries or countries which are still developing, we check whether our growth is enough dedicated to poverty eradication. Because clearly, and some of you said it very well, we need a combination. Redistribution of money is not enough. You need to build an education system accessible to all. You need to build a health system accessible to all. You need to build an administrative system accessible to all. And whether you are a rich country or a not so rich country, it is the same. You have to have social policies that enable the fight against poverty. La deuxième chose que nous faisons ici dans cette pièce, c'est essayer de développer des systèmes de solidarité internationale grâce auxquels la richesse du monde sera mieux redistribuée. Là aussi, c'est extrêmement difficile, car chaque pays a besoin de ses revenus pour sa population. Mais il y a une exigence de solidarité. Et à l'heure de la mondialisation économique et financière, la mondialisation sociale doit aussi exister, c'est-à-dire la mise à la disposition de tous des ressources de la croissance économique que permet cette mondialisation. Et cela, c'est un immense chantier qui n'est jamais suffisamment réalisé, mais auquel nous travaillons. And the third thing that we are doing here in this chamber or in this building or in other buildings of the UN around the world is trying to tackle those challenges that we are facing now and that are going to make the fight against poverty even more difficult. Climate change. We see how climate change is endangering development in so many countries, in particular in arid countries or in coastal countries, challenging the very life of human communities. Climate change, but also wars. Who doesn't see that wars are terrible for poverty eradication? Look at Sudan, poor Sudanese people nowadays, who are the victims of two factions fighting against each other since years now, without any respect for the life of the people. I take Sudan because it comes to my mind, but so many other countries. Fighting for peace and security is fighting against poverty. And then a new challenge that is appearing, which is the challenge of making new technologies at the service of all. The digital divide, as we say, it is not only between North and South, it is also within communities, within societies, to make sure that everybody is entitled to profit from that. Alors je voudrais conclure avec un message d'urgence et un message d'espoir. Le message d'urgence, c'est que, comme le rappelait la représentante spéciale, mais également la directrice, nous sommes loin d'avoir réalisé les objectifs de développement durable. Et il reste 5 ans pour atteindre les cibles. Et si nous voulons parvenir près des cibles dans les 5 prochaines années, il faut redoubler d'efforts. Et là, votre mobilisation collective pour rappeler au gouvernement, au Parlement, leurs responsabilités est absolument indispensable. Mais un message d'espoir aussi, parce que si l'on mesure le chemin parcouru depuis un demi-siècle, voire tant d'êtres humains en plus sur cette planète, et une pauvreté réduite en proportion de l'humanité, même si elle reste trop nombreuse, cela prouve qu'il y a des instruments qui existent, qu'il y a une volonté qui existe pour que la pauvreté soit vaincue. Et là encore, votre rôle est critique pour rappeler à chaque instant que la lutte contre la pauvreté doit faire partie de toute politique publique parce qu'elle est l'essence de la lutte pour les droits de l'homme et pour la dignité de chaque être humain. Je vous remercie d'être venu ici. I thank you very much for being here. Et je me réjouis que cette journée internationale de l'éradication de la pauvreté ait pu être faite avec vous toutes et tous et en entendant ces témoignages merveilleux que vous nous avez donnés aujourd'hui. Merci beaucoup.